Dortmund didn't go out in the first round of DFB Pokal. It's time to celebrate. If this is the Dortmund we're going to see for the remainder of the season, I'm going to break it down. 3 critiques and then also some highlights from the game. My main critique and the main issue that I'm seeing in this team, nobody in this team seems to have the capability to dribble past the player. Because like, think about it, how do you break down low blocks? Think about it, how do you break them? You either need clever passing patterns or you need players who can take someone on. You have to have a team that's committing and creating space for the others, and right now we don't have that. Dortmund's game just becomes very flat, and this is where the club I think has let us down in the transfer market. We need players like Sancho, we need players like Chukwuemeka. They are players who have shown that they can thrive here, and they can give us that like unpredictability, that spark, that flair that we're missing, that can take on these players and then create space. We used to have lots of these players, Hakimi, Marco Reus, Guerrero, Sancho obviously, but these players are just too afraid and don't have the capability of it. So when Dortmund play with teams that have low blocks, it's hard for them. It's hard for them to break through. But when we play good teams like Bayern, PSG, I feel like we have a better chance because they don't play low blocks. That's like the main critique I have from this Dortmund side right now and from the game. My second critique is the midfield. There's barely any creativity in there. This kind of plays into the previous critique that I had, because there's barely any creativity, there's no real risk taking, and when they take risk it's not that great. Kovac started with Nemecha, Gross and Sabitzer. Although Gross and Nemecha were trying to bring the ball forward, Gross is a little bit too old. He can't do what he did in Brighton. Nemecha can't do it all by himself, and Sabitzer, I just felt he's not that kind of player. But as soon as we brought in Job and Brandt, even though Brandt is not the player he was, he's still like our most creative player, which says a lot. And Job just got into the team. He's not supposed to just break through and be the best creative player in our team, even though it kind of feels like that at the moment. So as I'm mentioning these critiques, they all kind of play into each other. Lack of creativity, lack of capability of dribbling like past players, and then the third is the lack of flair. Football is not just about control and structure. We're missing players who have imagination. You can almost predict every attack that Dortmund has, pass the ball a little back to the goalkeeper, play out to the flank, then cross it in, and just recycle until it maybe works. It hasn't worked in pre-season or now in the DFB Pokal. The only creative moment we had in the game was the goal. It comes from an individual shot that Girassi, he had his back turned to the goal, a player on his back, and just turn and shoot, which was unpredictable, which is why I'm saying we need players who are unpredictable. Those are my main critiques and something that Dortmund needs to fix. We're maybe not even getting anyone, which is a concern. But it's not all negatives. There are some highlights and positives here. Number 1, Filippo Mane. This kid is 17 years old and he played that game like he has been playing for Dortmund for 3 years and he's like 28 years old. He already looks like a professional. Composure on the ball, the way he carries himself. It kind of reminded me of like a athletic Mats Hummels. I'm not saying Filippo Mane is already like Hummels. I'm just saying he tried to play like him. Like he played some good long passes and tried to move the ball forward, be a more creative defender. But he still has some things to learn. He did some misplaced passes and errors. He was still better than most. To me, he's like the biggest positive from this game, and I'm really excited to follow his development through the season. Number 2, Gregor Kobel. Not really a surprise. I mean, he kept us in the game in the first half. I think had like a one-on-one with Gregor Kobel that they should have scored, but Kobel saved us and kept us in the game and just proved why he's one of the best keepers. Definitely in Germany, maybe even in the world. Now, number 3 is Girassi for me. Now, he didn't do much during the game before the goal, but I don't think that's his fault. We were very much lacking. Tried to create something for him. The only thing was Koto playing it from the right, trying to cross it in and pass it in. or cut in, but even that didn't really work. The only thing that worked was when Girassi took it by himself and scored a great goal from outside of the box, which is exactly why we need a striker like him. We just need a 10. We just need a new cam that's more creative. So what does this all mean? On one hand, we did win. That's the most important part. You survive and just move on. But on the other hand, the performance also matters. It tells us how the season is gonna be and perhaps what we're looking at. And this game highlighted obvious problems like the midfield, like the creative players we are missing. Dortmund can't keep relying on individual performances. So where do we go from here? Well, for me, the obvious thing is to do is buy Sancho, buy Chukwuemeka, or anyone that's very creative as a 10. The season is just starting, there's time to improve, but this was kind of like a warning, and we shouldn't ignore it. But that's just my view. What did you guys think of the game? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Otherwise, like, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and let's see what Dortmund have in store for us this season. I'm going to stream the first game of the Bundesliga this Saturday, I think it is, against St. Pauli. See you there.